We rolling.
Blue Velvet. It's the movie of the day, of the night.
Velvet Azul to our friends heading south. I think Velvet is just Velvet, honestly. I don't know.
Velveeta.
I came up with
Velveeta.
And out the cheese.
Oh, shit.
All right, guys.
This movie was emotionally taxing, man. I feel wiped out after watching this. So, by the way, this is Bentley. I guess we're still doing the intro. Like, I don't
this
think
is 3 hacks in a movie.
hacks in a
Three
movie.
hacks in a movie.
Yeah, we're a podcast.
Eventually,
kinda.
we'll stop doing this intro because this is kind of.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Where we say all our names.
Once
and
we're
stuff,
super
like,
famous and everyone knows us on a first name basis, we'll stop, introducing ourselves.
Yeah, for now, I'm Bentley.
Yeah.
This is.
Emilio.
And I'm RJ.
And yeah, 3 hacks in a movie podcast. I'm kind of depressed after watching this movie, guys. I have to like.
So, Bentley, this was your pick this week, correct? And what did we watch today?
It's Blue Velvet, which is David Lynch's, I want to say like 4th movie
Okay.
that he's made.
This is after Dune,
Yeah,
right?
this is right after Dune, which
But
was like a huge flop.
before Lost Highway? Or did he do something
Well
else?
before Lost Highway.
It was
Okay,
before like
okay,
Wild at
okay.
Heart
It
and
was
stuff.
before Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Oh,
Before Twin
okay.
Peaks. Yeah, but the thing is before Wild at Heart. But yeah, this is like a good like stepping stone of David Lynch's career, I think, because it kind of like introduces a lot of the stuff you see later on in his movies. It's like the whole like there's like evil behind the surface of like what appears to be good and wholesome,
Okay.
I suppose. But yeah, this movie hits hard, man. It's very hard.
It's
To me.
Okay, so for those who for obviously I don't expect anyone to know, but this is my first time watching this movie. Bentley, this is probably you've seen it like a few times at this point, right?
4th time, perhaps.
Okay, and then RJ, this is
Second.
Your second time watching it, right? Okay. So this is my first time. I've seen a few David Lynch movies at this point, thanks to Bentley, honestly. I've seen Eraserhead. I've seen Dune, but that was like over 10 years ago, so I don't really remember it all too well, to be honest. Blue Velvet, Lost Highway, and then I've seen random episodes of Twin Peaks. I actually watched most of the first season, basically, but from my perspective so far, it's probably the most normal thing I've seen him do, except for Dune, because like Dune's obviously has nothing to do with him. Like he didn't like write or anything really. It was a well-established novel.
He added some weird shit.
Yeah,
some weird personal
I'm sure
touches.
He's like, well, I'm David Lynch, so I'm still gonna make some weird shit, and obviously have Kyle MacLachlan in it because he's obsessed with
That's
the
where
man.
they got introduced, I think. That was the
Probably.
first
Well, yeah,
role that
yeah.
Kyle MacLachlan ever did for David Lynch.
Yeah.
That's all.
That makes sense. Yeah, but it is. This is probably even not saying it's a normal movie by any means, but it's definitely his most normal thing that I personally seen him do. I don't know about you guys. Like, where do you think this ranks in normalcy?
It's a pretty straightforward plot, I think. There's not too much like ambiguity, I think is the word. It's like there's not too much like weird, like you have to figure this out for yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it tells you what the plot is. You kind of have to like watch it to keep up, but yeah, it's not weird.
Yeah, I'm sure there's metaphors and symbolism that I just missed, but I honestly thought it was a pretty straightforward movie, honestly.
Yeah, what did the blue mean?
Yeah,
why is it blue?
Why
velvet?
was the velvet blue?
Yeah, why not red velvet? Why not yellow velvet?
Sometimes the velvet's just blue,
Yeah,
guys.
the velvet's just blue, guys. Exactly.
I think he just saw like a blue velvet suit one time, and he's like, "That's neat." And then he's like, "I'm gonna make a movie about that."
That's a sporting goods suit. He says.
But yeah, man, this movie, I don't know, man. I liked it, honestly. I enjoyed it. I just there's so many moments where I thought like, classic David Lynch, you know? Like you think you're in a normal scene and then you get something like baby wants to fuck or whatever, you know? And just shit like
How was that 5 minutes until it was said? Hell
Yeah, I've been fighting the urge, man.
But yeah, man, it's just if you've seen any of David Lynch's movies, he likes to bring you to this false sense of normalcy, and then he just like spikes the weird ball right in front of you.
Which makes it pretty entertaining, I think.
Yeah.
Honestly. It keeps you on your toes.
Yeah.
Dennis Hopper is great in this movie as the evil. Like, he's almost like evil incarnate in a way. He's one of the most evil
He's just
characters.
a pervert, I guess. I don't know. I mean, he is evil, but he's also just perverted, it seems like, for the most part.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about him. He was like the local
just I don't know, gangster. Like
Gangster,
what is
yeah,
it?
criminal of
Yeah,
some
yeah.
kind.
He's like some kind of criminal mastermind. Yeah.
I never quite say, but it definitely has to do with human trafficking. Like he's a human trafficker, I guess. Like you could objectively say, because he has a woman held up in his like apartment, basically, or her apartment. I'm not even really sure.
Well, yeah, like
Right.
he kidnaps her family as hostage, and I guess that's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, what's the point of all this? Like, why is he holding them hostage? Is it just so he can
As a
beat
sex
her-
slave.
Like, yeah, so you can just beat her up and have sex
Basically.
with her every once in a while. Okay, I feel like you don't have to kidnap a family to do that, but sure. I mean, you know, like the dude's weird, so I don't really expect him to really think things through.
It was that all that gas, whatever the fuck he was huffing all the
Bro,
time.
what? The galaxy
was
gas.
Yeah,
The galaxy gas.
That's what he's
Yeah, he kept
huffing.
putting a little like what are those called? The
respirator thing,
Respirator
but
thing?
not
Yeah.
necessarily.
yeah. When you go to the
A mouth
hospital,
thing.
you get the oxygen or the
Yeah,
the
yeah. Just think of
nitrous
an
gas, or
just think of
whatever
an
the
oxygen mask,
mask.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah, the oxygen mask.
For a second, I thought he was really just huffing an oxygen tank. Like he
Right.
just runs low on air. He's like,
Yeah, but then he had
Yeah.
a small little like tank in his the pocket
yeah,
of his
yeah,
jacket.
exactly, yeah. But then again, I mean, technically, it still could be an oxygen tank, but I don't fucking know, man. But I just thought it was so weird because I swear the first time he pulled that thing out, I didn't see anything connected to it.
Yeah,
so
me
I was like,
either.
so I was like, what the fuck is he huffing? Like he's literally, technically, he's just breathing in something. Or breathing in nothing into a mask. Essentially, that's what I thought it looked like. And then later, when he does it again, you can clearly see whatever a tube and everything connected to it. But in the beginning, it really seems like he's just huffing into a mask, which didn't really make any sense.
And then he pretty much huffs whenever he gets horned up. I feel like
Yeah,
he just gets really horned up and has to like do it before he does this thing.
Does
But
whatever
his thing
you want to
is.
call that thing that he does with the girl.
Kyle MacLachlan has the unfortunate interaction of like actually stumbling across it and seeing just like this horribly depraved like guy. Like
Dude, it's so
treat this
funny.
lady.
I always love a story when it's someone who just kind of accidentally stumbles upon something insane, you know? And then I was like, wow, this dude is like, I don't know how old Kyle MacLachlan's character is supposed to be.
Right.
Like he's maybe a little bit after high school, like college years or something like
I feel like
that.
he could be 18 or 30.
Yeah,
in this movie.
I think he said a couple times in the film that he's home from school,
oh,
like
okay.
home from school. So I'm
Yeah.
assuming like college.
College then,
level.
right? Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah. And I just love that it's like I love how it goes from like, for some reason I want to play detective, just trying to figure out what's going on with it. Like he finds a fucking a severed ear, and then he's like, "Well, that's weird." And he does the right thing of turning it into the police officer, but he can't get over it. He's like, "No, I got to figure out where this ear came from and shit." And I'm like, "Why, bro? Like, why are you gonna play detective with a severed ear? This seems like."
I mean, I'd be
bored,
curious if
yeah.
I found a severed ear in like the field behind my house.
Yeah, but I'm just like, okay, clear. Like, well, when he heard from the autopsy that like someone cut it off with scissors or whatever, I think that's when I'd be like, okay, I think there's a little out of my depth now. Like, because clearly, like, someone's out here fucking chopping off ears, and I don't know if I want to find out who.
During that part, actually, there's a really cool transition where it's like, yeah, the ear was cut off with scissors, and then it cuts to scissors cutting the crime
caution
scene,
tape.
the caution crime scene.
Oh,
tape.
right,
Like, that
yeah,
was the
yeah,
transition, like immediately after. That was really cool.
Yeah, I did like that actually. That was pretty sweet. But yeah, I don't know. But I love the idea that this kid was like he's almost like a kid just curious when like a kid just finds some random thing in his neighborhood. He's like, oh, what happened to old man Jenkins? And he like fucking wants to figure it out himself. He seems like even though he's like a college kid or whatever, he reverted back to a child just like with a sense of
Wonder.
whimsy and wonder. Yeah.
Just drawn to the mystery. I think they talk about it a few times, like in the diner or whatever.
Yeah.
Laura Dern.
And then the opening scene with his dad having a stroke or whatever the fuck that was.
Right,
I
fucking
still don't even know.
aneurysm.
Yeah, I still don't know what the hell that was because he just like grabs his neck and he goes like, gah, 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 and then just drops to the ground.
That's how the movie opens. Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck? It didn't seem very vital to the plot, honestly. Like, it's just a thing that happened.
Yeah, maybe that's why he got enthralled in the mysteries. His dad like died or almost died or something. So maybe he just started questioning what he wanted to do with his life, and was like, okay, I'm just gonna do this mystery.
Yeah, I didn't get that at all. I just thought like maybe it's like, well, now I don't have to spend time with my dad, so now I got time to fucking figure out who this ear belongs to. I don't know. I just thought like the whole his dad having an aneurysm thing. I really was thinking, was there a point to that or what? Because I didn't fucking figure it out. Unless it really is. Well, I'm in town. I don't got to spend time with my dad because I got to he's in the hospital, so I can investigate this.
I don't think there's a reason
Ear
necessarily,
mystery.
like a reason or connection to the dad. That happening to the dad. It's just something that happened to him, and it's just
I mean,
it's
it could
emotional.
be just something
I
that just
guess.
happened, but yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of weird.
Okay, maybe my thought. I was just kind of thinking about this right now because it opens up with the weird shots of like the town's all happy and everybody's smiling. You see the guy on the fire truck driving by,
waving.
Blue
Yeah.
skies and the white picket
skies,
fence.
yeah, it looks like
No minorities.
a perfect, quaint little town. And then he has the aneurysm, the stroke, the whatever the hell
the fuck,
it is.
yeah.
And then you start seeing some of the bad stuff going on, I guess, and then
All the bugs.
at the end of the movie, when you see the dad's healthy again and like doing okay, and then it plays those like same like intro clips again of like
Right, yeah. The guy on the fire truck and whatever,
Yeah.
blah blah blah. Right, yeah.
I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but
And then the robin was eating the beetle or something.
yeah, that whole story about the robin, I didn't understand all that either.
I thought because if you remember, so when the dad, he's like watering the grass or whatever, he's like pulling on the hose because it gets wrapped around like a branch or a twig of the brush or whatever, and you can see like him pulling it and it getting tighter and tighter, and then looking stroke / aneurysm. I was like, was that like immediate foreshadowing? Like, I don't know.
Like that's what's happening in his brain.
Yeah,
His
exactly.
brain
Like
was
it's just like
short circuiting or whatever.
yeah,
or
because that's what like
pressurizing.
like a stroke or an embolism is, right? It's just like, or like it was like a blood clot just kind of releases. Just like, whoosh.
Right, yeah.
So I was like, whoa, what's with the immediate foreshadowing? I was like, is he the fucking bush / whatever hose or whatever? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I just
Yeah, it
remember
could have
thinking
been
that.
like a symbolism for the actual stroke itself.
Yeah,
for
I just
sure,
thought it was like
'cause-
immediate foreshadowing. Like, whoa, what's going on here? And then fucking, whoa, goes gack, 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 just drops to the ground. But I don't know. I just remember thinking about that. I was like, because they were really showing, like, they really zoomed in on the whole, like, hose being wrapped around the twigs, the brush, whatever the fuck it was.
He's trying to stress you out, dude.
Yeah.
This whole movie's trying to stress you out.
But yeah, man. Okay, so real quick before we get like super into it, you guys have seen plenty of David Lynch's work, including Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I've seen
Sure.
a fair share of
Yeah,
David
right.
Lynch.
Belly, have you seen all his work at this point?
I haven't. No, I haven't. I haven't
No?
seen like Straight Story.
I don't even see that on there. Oh, there it is. Never
It's
mind.
the guy
Okay,
who just
never mind.
drives a tractor across America. That's probably his most normal movie.
Oh, you did show us the trailer for that. Okay,
Straight
yeah,
Story.
you're right.
It was
I forgot
produced by
about that.
Disney and stuff. It's like
it does say that. Buena Vista Pictures under Walt Disney. Yeah.
it's just a wholesome American story, apparently. But
Have you seen Wild at Heart at this point?
I have seen them. I saw that one like a week ago.
Have you seen Inland Empire?
Yes.
Okay. So where do you I don't know. Like since you've seen more of his stuff, does this fall under one of the more normal, straightforward works of his?
Definitely. It doesn't indulge itself in the symbolism too much. It kind of just like is focusing on the story, and it's not like trying to necessarily like be deep or be like, whoa, ponder this for a moment. Why don't you?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of there in the background, perhaps, but I think the weirdness works in its favor. Like there's a scene at the end where like one of I think they call him the guy in the yellow suit or the yellow man.
Yeah, the yellow man, yeah.
He's just like in the apartment with a bullet wound in his head, and he's just standing there.
Yeah.
And like I think that's very Lynchian, but like but it's not weird. It's not like being like, hey, this is so deep. It's just like, oh, this is like a cool,
It's weird.
weird thing that happens.
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those like you think it's gonna be a normal scene, and then you fucking run into just like one of the weirdest things possible in this. Yeah, because there's nothing like supernatural about this movie whatsoever.
Not too much.
It's just very strange.
There's some weird artsy stuff, like a lot of the, I guess you could call them like transitions. There's like candles that are like getting burnt out. Like there's just like these weird montages that happen.
Oh yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
what is that? Well, like,
one scene I couldn't stop thinking about just because of the editing was the sex scene between Kyle MacLachlan's character and what's the singer's name? I'm already forgetting.
Dorothy.
Dorothy
Valens.
Yeah, Dorothy. Sorry, I'm tired, guys.
I wonder if there's any relations to Richie Valens.
Ooh. Or Dorothy from Wizard of Oz.
That's immediately where my mind went more than anything, honestly. But their like sex scene when it goes like kind of like slow mo, or they're just like taking out frames, I don't know, something like that, and then the sound is just all distorted, like it's just like
animalistic.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? But I remember just thinking like, yeah, that's pretty. It seems pretty on brand for David Lynch.
I feel like that was just them getting primal and animalistic with their like lust or whatever. So it's just like it literally sound like lions and like eating prey or something. I just remember thinking, I was like, oh man, I just immediately started thinking about all the other weird sex scenes where I'm like, is this art or is this just weird? And it just reminds you like again, RJ, we got to go back to the Munich sex scene. Obviously, that's kind of where my mind goes when it comes to terrible sex scenes.
Top 5, top 10 worst sex scenes I've ever seen.
in Munich.
Yeah, you still haven't seen it, right?
No, I have not.
Dude, yeah, that fucking sex scene, man. Like the movie is so like on top of its shit the entire time. You're like, damn, bro, like A, whatever, maybe a B plus, and then you get to the sex scene and you're like D, bro. I don't know, it's fucking weird. It's terrible.
Oh, that fucked with me so much.
Yeah.
David Lynch has a good taste for sex scenes, I think. I mean, this one was kind of weird, obviously, because it wasn't supposed to be that enjoyable or that erotic or, glamorous.
I haven't seen a lot of the sex. Well, I've seen Lost Highway, and then I think that's the only other one I've seen with a sex scene. I haven't seen any sex scenes from Twin Peaks or anything, or Mulholland Drive.
Mulholland Drive has a big one for sure.
I'm sure
Naomi Watts.
Yeah. Oh, for those who don't know, Bentley is a huge David Lynch fan.
I guess,
is that safe to say?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I haven't seen all his movies though, so that's.
But you're not missing a lot. You're missing like one or two. It seems like.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I haven't seen Dune.
That's gonna be a rough watch at this point. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
I like his movies because they're very like emotional, and I feel like he does emotional filmmaking, and when it feels weird or it gets weird, I feel like he's just trying to like send you an emotional like response or just kind of like. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
That first episode of Twin Peaks, it feels like he's trying to just tug on your heartstrings, manipulate you so bad.
I will say I did see
it's so dramatic.
I did see the first episode of Twin Peaks, and I loved it. I loved that first episode of Twin Peaks. It did make me want to watch more, and I did watch quite a bit of the first season.
It is a great pilot.
Yeah, it's great, and it's. But yeah, man, I feel like there's just so much that happens, or like kind of like leads you into wanting to watch more. So it was sick. I love that first episode.
Right, I think it's pretty much, it's almost like a movie, too.
Dude, it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the runtime is like an hour and a half. Because I remember watching about why Twin Peaks is one of the most misunderstood television shows or whatever.
Yeah,
no one understands it, actually. Yeah. Not even the guy who created it, probably.
I don't think Lynch understands it. But I think that was kind of the point, honestly.
The pilot episode was 94 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's pretty much a movie.
I think I remember hearing something that a lot of people tuned out because they weren't used to TV episodes being over an hour.
Yeah.
So they just kind of tuned out at the hour and not realizing that they actually missed a half hour of the fucking episode.
And a show like that, you miss one episode, and it's like, well, you miss so much.
Yeah. Oh, dude, there's no point.
Yeah, then you just give up on the show.
Isn't it the first series or one of the first series to do a continuation kind of story?
Pretty much. Like, besides soap operas.
Right.
It's inspired by soap operas.
Yeah, it's that's a whole other fucking game. But yeah.
Yeah, it's probably one of the first ones to be on prime time television and do that.
David Lynch is good at writing just really emotional, like raw characters. Like Laura Palmer from Twin Peaks is just like a very she has like a lot of conflict. She's a lot of good and bad in her. So I think Blue Velvet has that with like the good and bad, the fight between good and evil and stuff. Like there's a lot of night scenes and then day scenes, and like whenever it's day, it's like as day as possible. It's like noon.
It's the day is day.
Yeah, it's never like the sun's going down. It's never like morning or anything.
Yeah.
It's always just bright as hell, and then all the night scenes are just like at midnight or something.
Yeah.
So like there's I feel like a dichotomy between the night and day.
Yeah.
You know. And whenever he's investigating, it's nighttime
And
too.
then in this movie, it seems, if I remember correctly, besides the opening scene where his dad has whatever, the aneurysm or whatever, everything during the day is pretty normal or something kind of good happens. And then when night happens, that's when all the shit happens. Like anything terrible that happened in the fucking movie, it's always during the night scenes. But during the day scenes, it's normal thing. Like he's at his dad's shop, he's hanging out with Laura Dern's character. They're going out, whatever, stuff like that. And then at night, it's you get introduced to fucking Dennis Hopper and.
We're seeing the surface
shit from there.
surface level stuff during the day, like the diner, exactly. Like there's the fire truck. Like you're just seeing the white picket fence.
Yeah.
And then at night you see the bugs. You see the dirt and the grime.
I like the small little town. It was a cool little town.
Lumberton, right?
Lumberton, USA.
North Carolina, right? Isn't that?
That's what I think.
Yeah,
because he there's a birth certificate and it says Lumberton, and I could have swore it said North Carolina. It was like that same. It was blurry, but it looked like North Carolina.
Okay. Yeah. Honestly, I have no idea what North Carolina really looks like, but when I think
the western part is like super
lush
and a lot of forests and stuff.
I believe it, honestly. Well, yeah. I mean, when I think David Lynch, I mostly think of like the Pacific Northwest, I guess, because of fucking Twin Peaks and shit.
Yeah,
so I always think he just kind of puts his kind of sets his movies in that kind of world.
I'm curious where this was filmed.
So, Bentley, how would you synopsisize Blue Velvet? What is this movie about?
So Jeffrey is played by Kyle MacLachlan, and he sort of starts out as like a naive teenager type of kid.
It was shot in Wilmington, North Carolina, by the way.
Okay.
Is that the actual setting of the thing too?
I don't know. You can't find that.
Yeah, it just says it was shot there.
Yeah.
Rural America, just suburbia.
It's your classic small town.
Look at that.
Lumberton, North Carolina.
That's a real place.
Oh.
Lumberton's an actual.
It looks like it. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Look at that. Yeah,
That's weird.
Even said as of 2020, there was only a population of 20,000 people. So imagine back then, it was probably even less than that. It was like 10,000 people probably.
This movie the south part of
North Carolina.
This movie definitely doesn't make you want to move there necessarily. But so basically, you got Kyle MacLachlan, and he plays a little character called Jeffrey, who's like this naive, just like kid who's like, you can just tell he hasn't quite hit adulthood yet. And he's just out going to see his dad at the hospital. And on the way home, he's trying to throw a rock at a beer bottle. And then in the grass next to him, he sees a severed ear.
Yeah.
This is just kind of weird. It's like a very, very mysterious. He like...
It's covered in ants.
It's covered in ants, like a fucking Salvador Dali painting or something. And then first thing he does is he grabs like a bag, so, like on the ground or something.
Yeah, it's like a paper bag.
Yeah, a paper bag. And then he puts the ear in it. And I'm like, bro, evidence tampering right there, dude. That's not...
That was my whole thought.
Dude, I remember just thinking the way he reacted to the ear was so unsurprising. Like, it's like, oh, a severed ear. Instead of like, oh my God, a severed ear. He's just kind of... Okay, like
better bag this up for
he
evidence.
had no visible reaction to finding a severed ear. He was just like, that's different, I guess, and then that's kind of about it.
Just naturally a detective, that's just I guess that's his character. He's very inquisitive, loves the mystery, but he goes to I think he goes to like one of the cops, like detectives there.
He immediately goes to the police station.
The police station. Yeah. And it talks about it, and he's like, that's an ear, all right.
Yeah.
It's a human ear, all right.
The delivery of that line was the first thing that made me go, this is how I know David Lynch fucking had something to do with this movie, because I know it's on purpose, so I can't say that, it's like terrible, whatever. It's like terrible acting. Like, no, he wanted this character to just be like, yup, that's an ear, all right. Like, what the fuck? Like, you're acting like he just found like some kind of special coin or something. Like, no, it's a fucking severed ear that belongs to a human. He's like, yup,
Like, I realize someone sees that and they're like, ugh, and they gag a little bit. They're like, oh, what the fuck? But he's like, yeah, that's near all right.
Yeah.
But so this cop, he has a daughter, Laura Dern, who's just like,
that's not her name.
right?
Laura
I
Dern
guess
is
the actor.
actress. The
That's the
girl's name
actress.
is
Sandy.
Sandy, yes,
yeah.
yes. And she is dating some guy named Michael who you never really see that much.
Yeah, you see him for like a little bit.
Yeah,
It
that's
doesn't
such a
really
small
matter.
part.
Yeah.
And then she ends up like telling Kyle MacLachlan's character Jeffrey the details on the murder and says, "Oh, like my dad knows about this apartment. I think it's connected to the murder, as far as I know."
Yeah.
And so they go to the apartment. They like have this whole fucking plan. Like Jeffrey like has this like makeshift like camera thing that he like made in his car, and he like has like magazine. Like he's studied up on this shit. Dude. This guy's already a detective. I'm telling you, he's
for real though.
naturally.
Well, there's that one scene where he gets out of the car and she's like, I don't know if you're a pervert or what was the other?
A detective.
Detective, I think, right?
Yeah.
And I'm starting to lean more towards pervert. Now that you're explaining it back to me, I'm thinking about it again.
That was honestly one of my favorite lines. Like, I can't tell if you're a pervert or a detective. I
Well, at
fucking love that line.
first, it's a detective, but over time, he definitely like his intentions get a little muddied up because he goes to the apartment. He hides in the closet, I think, and then this lady comes home. No.
Oh,
He pretends to be a bug sprayer.
Yeah.
Right.
He
that's the
infiltrates
first
the
time.
apartment. Yeah.
And you see he's like spraying the place, and like you can hear like the fluid in the bug
the
sprayer like moving around. I always like David Lynch's sound design in these movies. And
So yeah, he finds a spare set of keys, right?
yeah, he just steals the keys from the house.
Yeah.
He just steals them, like not like they need them or something. My mystery is way more important than you getting back home. But yeah, he does that, and then later that night, or I don't know, like later on. he
Yeah,
comes
later
back.
on. Yeah, it's probably like the next day, but yeah.
Nobody's in the apartment, I don't think, and he ends up hiding in the closet. And then the lady comes home with Frank, I want to say.
No. With,
the man in the yellow suit,
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, the yellow man. Yeah.
And immediately things get kind of wacky. When they went,
Wacky.
Yeah.
Is that the word? Okay.
yeah,
she receives a call from someone.
from Frank, I think.
Frank, yeah.
It's definitely Frank.
You can tell,
Yeah.
she's like asking to talk to somebody. It's probably like her husband and her kid who's held captive, but you don't really know about it yet.
Yeah.
As an audience
I
member.
think she said something along the lines like "Don't hurt him," or
Yeah.
something like that. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
something along. Yeah, so you definitely start picking up kind of what's going on from there. You're like, oh, okay, clearly, there's whatever someone she cares about is being held captive or whatever. And then so Kyle MacLachlan's character, he gets discovered in the closet, and she holds him up at knife point. And then, basically how like so many pornos start.
Right?
He
Starts
goes, like-
undressing him.
Yeah,
and
like she's like, you take off your clothes, and he does it, and then she starts like she's like, stand up. She gets on her knees and starts like kissing around his like dick and shit. I was like, I've seen this movie. Like, I've definitely seen this. David Lynch has
Jesus.
definitely seen this fucking movie. And I love how it seems like he tries to implement like porn elements in his fucking movie sometimes.
It's called
funny.
eroticism or something. I don't know. That's my
or just
excuse.
erotica, whatever.
Erotica.
Yeah.
But this movie's not erotic. I don't think it's a very erotic. Like there's nudity in it, but it's
Yeah.
not like I don't think.
yeah, this
I felt
was-
anything
yeah,
necessarily.
there's a lot. If anything, this scene was maybe.
I mean, dude, I remember I was just thinking, like, what's going on through Jeffrey's head? Because he goes from obviously being terrified that he's about to be discovered, and this lady has a fucking almost like a giant like chef's knife in her hand, and then immediately like they basically start hooking up. So I wonder if his head is like, bro, this is like best case scenario.
Right.
like worst case would have been like she fucking murders me or calls the cops
Yeah,
and turns
right.
me in, And it's like, but no, he gets the best case scenario, and they start hooking up. So
Well, yeah, and then another knock at the door, and
so he hides back in the closet.
yeah, and it's Frank.
Oh right,
Introduction to Frank, who's
Played by Dennis Hopper.
Yep. And
acts like he's coked out of his mind, just always screaming.
Yeah, I don't know what he's exactly supposed to be. He's supposed to be, it says here, he's a psychopathic gangster and drug lord. Which I don't know if it necessarily says he does, or he slings
like
drugs.
The only semblance I got is later at that one party where he's like, "You got something for me" or whatever, and he just like hands him a bunch of money, or he gets handed a bunch of money, and then he pops a pill in his mouth, and I was like, "Oh, okay, that seems pretty on brand." That was like the only semblance that I got. That like, oh, there's probably like, oh, well, there, and then when the drug dealer gets murdered later. I guess that's the only thing that really connects that he has something to do with the drug game. But I mean, that's probably it. But yeah, so we get introduced to Frank, which is, I mean,
all of Frank.
Yeah.
All of his eccentricities.
Yeah, you see
Right
the
off the
worst
bat.
of him right off the bat.
I've seen some pretty demented characters over the years, but there's just something so off-putting about everything of Frank, dude. He's just the most weird, irrational fucking character. He's just weird, man. I don't know how else to put it.
What does he say? Baby wants to fuck.
Baby wants to fuck.
Yeah, once again he breaks out that gas. Or this is the first time you see him, so
Yeah.
he breaks out that gas mask, oxygen mask, whatever, and
It's turning into a
starts
babbling
hu-
baby.
Yeah, he starts
basically.
huffing in this drug, I guess.
Gazing into her vagina.
Yeah, because he makes her open her legs. He's like wider, and then he's like breathing into this mask that again doesn't look like it's fucking connected to anything. And he goes, "Baby wants to fuck."
Meanwhile, Kyle MacLachlan's just like in the fucking closet, just
watching all
like staring
this
at all this happen.
He's probably jerking off.
Dude, I was thinking, I was wondering what was going on through Jeffrey's head during this, and I wonder if he was thinking like, am I about to see a rape happen? And like, at what point do I step in? He's like, because if I go in too early, I just expose this whole thing, and nothing happened. Or, like, I wonder if he was thinking like, at what point do I stop this? But apparently he played it right, because I mean, technically nothing really happens. I
feel
guess
like it must
It's
have
fucking
corrupted him a little bit, like just seeing that and being exposed to that. Because like before, it's just red fire trucks and white pickup fences. That's what his life was. But like that probably kind of like really made
with his
him do
head.
some bad things later on in the movie.
I don't know. He was off at college, man. He probably saw some weird
that's
shit.
true.
Where it depends on where you went to college, man.
That's true, yeah.
Duke, NC,
Yeah.
NC State, man.
Now, what if he went to like San Francisco State, bro? Where shit got real weird in the fucking 70s and the 80s.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But yeah, dude. So Frank, Frank is just very unsettling the entire time. Which I mean, shout out to Dennis Hopper because he really made me feel fucking uncomfortable. And this movie was shot like 40 years ago, and I'm in the safety of my own home, and even then, I felt very just unsettled.
He's gonna pop out and rape you.
Glad to know.
What it feels
but
like.
I was scared, but then I saw Dennis Hopper pass away in 2010, so I guess I'm safe now. But no, and then, dude, I really thought, I was like, oh my god, like, are we about to see a rape scene? And then something happens that I don't know what to call it. I think the closest way to describe it is called like a dry rape.
Dry hump, basically.
Yeah, but it's like it is.
His
it's
pants are like still on.
Yeah, his pants are still on. His dick's not out, but he like dry humps her into completion, and obviously it's non-consensual. So I'm calling it a dry rape. He just like dry humps her non-consensually until he finishes, and that's, I don't know. I just thought that was kind of funny but terrible at the same time. And I was like, what the fuck is this guy? I mean, it's definitely one of the craziest introductions I've seen to a character in a while.
It's a weird conversation, like of sexual proclivities between like men and women in this movie.
He also did not want to be looked at.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't look at me.
Don't look at me. He slapped her every single time she looked at him.
Because probably like a power thing. I don't know. Power thing.
Yeah, I think it's very much, which was weird because you would think like power things are more like, look at me, like because I'm
True.
degrading you or whatever. But I mean, she had her own thing, which I mean makes sense because obviously she's a sex slave basically. Because when her and Jeffrey are about to hook up, she goes, "Don't touch me," even though she's like basically blowing him or like getting ready to
Right.
blow him and shit, and they're like making out, like she's like, don't touch me, and so
Right.
you know, clearly
Which-
she's gone through some shit.
He probably corrupted her. Dennis Hopper, you know, probably turned her into that. The whole like,
yeah.
don't touch me thing, don't look at me. Because she says, don't look at me, right?
Yeah, I think she
Yeah,
does
yeah.
say that at one point. Yeah, she's like, don't look at me.
Yeah, maybe that came from him messing with her.
Yeah, and you see Dennis like slapping her around too during their whole encounter. You just kind of like fucking. I don't even think it was
He
a
hits
slap.
her.
I think he like punches her.
He hits her a few times, and then she like smiles. So obviously, there's like some sort of like
Yeah.
sadomasochistic thing going on with this relationship.
Yeah, and then later when Kyle's kind of replaying the scenes in his head, I think he starts he remembers that, or I don't know if he remembers or he thinks he remembers that he saw her whisper like "hit me" to Frank's character. Because it's pretty quiet. Like, she doesn't say anything during that entire interaction with that first interaction with Frank. But when Jeffrey replays it in his head, he sees that she like whispers into his ear saying like "hit me" or something like that. So I don't know if she was into it beforehand, but Frank apparently got her into this whole like sadomasochism thing.
Yeah. It's pretty horrible to watch, dude. Honestly, I don't really enjoy this movie too much with like just how horrible it is. It's like yeah.
You see,
It's hard to watch.
I mean, besides seeing Dorothy naked, you also see fucking Kyle MacLachlan's ass for a while. And you see his dick slip when he's like running at
Tiny
one
bit,
point.
a little bit of sausage,
Yeah.
dude. Definitely there.
Huge bush though.
It's the 80s, man.
Yeah, like that dude had a massive bush, man. That shit was kind of funny. But, yeah.
So yeah, then like Kyle MacLachlan's character Jeffrey and Dorothy hook up, and she asks him to hit her,
And he
like,
doesn't want to at first.
he's like, no, I can't do that, and then they just get more heated, and then eventually in the heat, he just hits her. And
Yeah. And it
If
didn't look like a
everyone's
slap either.
asking,
Yeah.
asking for it, you know.
I don't know
Agree
if
to
it,
say no.
I don't know if it was a slap, but I remember it was like a punch too. Like it wasn't just like a hard slap. He just kind of. I'm sure it wasn't his hardest punch, obviously, but he fucking.
David
decked her.
Lynch likes his comedic like punch sounds. In his movies, I've noticed.
But yeah, man, this is such a fucking wild movie.
Yeah, no, the scene where he is like thinking about him hitting her and stuff, and he's like on his bed and like
Sobbing.
starts sobbing. Like that scene
Yeah.
hits pretty hard, honestly. I feel like because like you could tell he's not a bad person. Like he's just wrapped up in like the actual animalistic like horrible human nature that we can fall into sometimes.
It falls into this whole thing of like, can you do something that you're kind of against to make another person happy? Because obviously, imagine like in a relationship where that, or like someone likes to be a hit and the other person doesn't want to fucking hit you. I don't know, it's kind of reminded me of that, where it's like, oh, what do you do when you guys just aren't really compatible, but you still want to make that person happy? And it was the scene when he starts replaying it in his head is kind of rough to watch, because you can see he was very uncomfortable that entire time doing it. It's almost like he got raped in a sense.
He did. He kind of did.
Yeah,
Like,
he got
with,
like
Dorothy
psychologically
in the beginning.
He got like
That's a rape.
psychologically raped.
She held like a knife up to his throat.
Yeah.
Basically, like almost sliced him in the cheek,
Yeah.
and then like told him to take off his clothes. Like that's.
Yeah. I don't
That's
want to say he
I think.
wanted it, but
Right,
he
right.
did. But he did. But yeah, man, I don't know, man. Fucking Frank, and then his crew that you meet later on,
Right.
very on brand.
Very great.
It's
Yeah,
just a
they,
group
like-
of weirdos.
It kind of remind me of like the hyenas in Lion King or something. They're just always cackling and a bunch of criminals.
Man,
I was when I was watching them driving in the car all together. I was thinking Tony Soprano and like his goons.
oh really?
Like I was thinking like Polly Walnuts and like you hear what I said, Tony? Like he
Oh,
repeats his joke again.
These criminals aren't very cool either. They're kind of weird.
Yeah.
They're kind of just like sleazy, smelly.
Bro, I swear, like the vibe that they got, because there's a scene later where Jeffrey gets caught with Dorothy by Frank and his crew, so they take him to what's his face's house?
Ben,
Ben, is that his name?
the guy with the white face.
The one
candy colored clown who sings the Sandman song.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah,
him.
Ben, I think.
Yeah.
Whatever he is. I'm not sure if he's like a drug guy, a human trafficker.
So that's when you kind of see more of his crew in action and everything. And you see these kind of, they're just surrounded by older women, like in their 50s, like early 60s, late 50s kind of thing.
They're like dumpy secretaries or
Yeah,
something.
and they're like, but they're, I don't know, they clearly like hook up with each other. And I remember just thinking like his crew reminds me of what I would think kind of like happens like porn back in the day. Like, oh, you could like they can't get laid on their own, so the director's like, oh, fuck my friends or whatever. Just like that was the entire vibe that whole crew fucking gave you. Like none of them can get laid on their own, but Frank gets them laid.
That's what swingers are all about. Just kidding.
You would know. No, just kidding. But yeah, dude, that whole crew is just so fucking funny. I've never seen a crew like less intimidating, to be honest. But you know, there's strength in numbers, obviously.
Yeah, Jack Nance is pretty intimidating. He tells Jeffrey his name like 2 or 3 times, just deeply into his eyes.
What was his name?
Henry? I don't know. Paul.
I think it was Paul.
I think you're right.
Honestly, I'm not sure. I know I had like the cast page up because I was forgetting a lot of the characters' names.
Jack Nance is Paul.
Yeah, Jack Nance is Paul. Yep, exactly.
That whole scene is really great. That's probably one of the best scenes in the movie is when they're at Ben's place and then he starts singing that Roy Orbison song.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that whole sequence is magical.
Like, I mean, before they even get to the house, we get one of the best lines where he's like, "You drink beer?" He's like, "Yeah, Heineken." Heineken, fuck that shit. Clap the ribbon. Yeah, I really thought this movie was sponsored by Heineken because if you see the movie, there's clear shots of them drinking Heineken a few times, and then all of a sudden, fuck Heineken. So I was like, oh, maybe this is actually sponsored by PBR.
I mean,
For a
while there, I was thinking, man, I wanted a Heineken. But after that scene, I was, PBR. Get it
wrong way, boys.
That's unfortunate, RJ, because like we see what people in this world drink fucking PBR. I feel like that was David Lynch trying
White
to
trash and hipsters.
Yeah. See, now it's hipsters. They used to just be white trash for the longest time. But I swear David Lynch was really trying to show us something like that because I mean. I'm not saying Jeffrey comes from like an affluent family, but his dad owns a successful little hardware store in town. He drives a really nice car, and what does he do? He drinks Heineken, and then you fucking meet Frank's perv squad. Basically, they're fucking obsessed with PBR. So I think there was a metaphor there. I think there was some symbolism there for sure.
Yeah, the cigarettes you smoke, the beer you drink, it definitely says a lot about you, I think.
I mean, Frank drives a badass car, too. He drives like an old school Charger. There we go. Yeah.
Interesting.
He just obviously didn't look like he took very good care of it. And I mean, Jeffrey's car is fucking badass, too.
A Cadillac? Or I don't even know what that was.
I don't even know. It looked like a really
American.
nice old Buick or something like that. But I'm really not sure.
Yeah,
but,
I couldn't say on his, but it was a nice car.
Yeah, it's now it would be considered like a vintage, whatever, classic car. But so would Frank's. But yeah, his is just very like dirty, not kept well. So there was a lot of like contrast between Frank and Jeffrey.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Frank was really into rock and roll and like doo-wop, which is kind of weird because you really think a guy with that who's that fucked up is into doo-wop. But there's almost like he likes the pure sweet music like doo-wop and stuff, but there's like this weird sleaziness underneath it, which I think is kind of an interesting choice. It's like doo-wop is very like wholesome. It's kind of like a wholesome music.
Yeah,
a lot of the time.
I don't think there's like dark doo-wop music.
Right.
I mean, there probably is now, but back then that was
one's about the 16-year-old girls,
Oh god,
my girlfriend, 16 years old. Like
and
half the doo-wop songs.
But
and then so like while all this is happening, there's kind of like a love triangle between Laura Dern, what's her name?
Jeffrey, Dorothy, and Sandy.
Jeffrey, Dorothy,
and then Michael, which is Sandy's boyfriend.
Sandy's boyfriend, that you see like once.
And then all of a sudden they're like broken up or something because they go to a party together or whatever, and she kind of like nods at her girlfriends or whatever, like it's done. And then all of a sudden they're like going out. Basically,
Right.
I was like, does she even break up with her boyfriend in person? I think I have a feeling that she just told her friends to go tell her that it's over.
That was high school. They're high
It
schoolers.
is high
man.
school, yeah. Obviously, it's not a serious relationship if you're telling your friends to go break up with them.
Sandy probably got the ick when she saw her boyfriend didn't beat up Jeffrey. Like when they like had that
that
like
was later.
debacle in front of the car.
Yeah, that was later.
Right,
though.
yeah.
Well, that's probably why she didn't take him back. or-
Yeah.
that really finished the deal.
Yeah. I thought like how fast she fell in love with Jeffrey was kind of dumb but funny. Where she's like all of a sudden like they're like going out
It's like
finally.
his assistant at first, his like detective
It's
assistant.
his gal Friday
His gal.
is what they used to say in old like detective movies or whatever. But yeah, I just love like when they finally start going out. You swear it's been like a day, and then she's like, "I love you, Jeffrey." And he's like, "I love you too." And I was like, "Okay, apparently they're in love."
Well, they're young,
Like,
they're
that was
young and
pretty
naive.
fast, yeah, I was like, that was pretty fast. I was just because like I had like I had the biggest crush on Laura Dern in Jurassic Park when I was a kid.
Right, she's
so
in
this
that.
is even before that. So younger, definitely. She doesn't look more like a high schooler. She definitely looks more like a college student. But classic Laura Dern. She's a very very pretty woman. But
She's good in this movie.
So I was a
It's
little
just-
jealous of Kyle MacLachlan, honestly.
Yeah, it was great seeing them together because in the return to Twin Peaks, it's obviously Dale Cooper is Kyle MacLachlan,
Right.
and then his like secretary or assistant that you never saw throughout the whole series, but it's always who he's addressing on the tape recorder when he's like recording,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
taking notes. He's like, Diane. The blah blah blah. This,
Yeah.
and so she actually becomes a character in the third season, and it's played by Laura Dern.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh okay. That's a nice. Yeah. Okay. I like that. That's cool.
So there's a weird like similarity between Kyle MacLachlan's character in this and Twin Peaks. I feel like 'cause they're both
Right.
detectives.
Yeah, so I was about to
kinda.
say, does Jeffrey give Detective Cooper vibes or Agent Cooper
Heavily.
vibes? Yeah.
Yes.
I would say like, but so he just didn't talk about coffee and apple pie that much. But other than that, it's pretty down to a T.
Okay.
The wholesome vibe to it. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure what there is to that. It's probably just typecasting at the end of the day. But yeah, wonder if there is like a thought them being connected or something.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Twin Peaks, so it's hard for me to make that comparison. From the little bit I did see, I could see Jeffrey growing up to be Detective Cooper.
This is the prequel to Twin Peaks.
Yeah, right?
This is the prequel before.
I bet if you
It's
asked
the
David
FBI.
Lynch that, he'd be like, maybe. Yeah.
Right. Especially if you've seen Twin Peaks season 3, there's like it reveals that like they have like
Tulpas.
Tulpas are what they're called, but they're like, I don't know.
The fuck's a tulpa?
An alternate character, another alter ego or something.
I bet I did. I remember
And,
I
like,
caught some of
A
that.
tulpa is a thing that like actually exists in the paranormal, like like people who believe in ghosts and spooky things like that. But they
Okay.
believe that you can create a character in your mind and you can make them so real and create such a intricate background story that you could become that character, and then you can switch from being
Interesting.
your actual self to this like tulpa
Oh, okay.
tulpa character.
Okay. I've never heard that term, to be honest. but
A
okay.
paranormal phenomenon. It's
Okay.
probably not real, but
Okay, definitely sounds more like just a mental condition.
Yeah, yeah,
when they,
multi-personality.
Yeah, it sounds like multiple personality
Basically.
disorder for sure. Yeah,
Right. But Jeffrey definitely could have been a tulpa of Agent Dale Cooper or vice versa.
yeah. Gotta go
because
back.
there's tulpas and doppelgangers
Yeah.
in Twin Peaks. They use both words.
Gotta go
Yes.
back to Twin Peaks and see if they mention Lumberton or North Carolina at some point.
Right.
You know? But yeah, okay, for sure. I mean, I just learned something. I learned what a fucking tulpa is.
Tulpa, dude. Yeah, that's a bunch of crazy schizos believe in that. So,
Yeah.
well, like David Lynch.
Okay. So all right. So in the movie, we get to basically the climax, right? The end. You know, fucking Fred. I was about to say Freddy. Oh my god, I'm so fucking tired. Jeffrey. He's gonna go out with Sandy. But during that, he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go talk to your dad about this," because I think he finally realizes that this has gotten out of hand. Like he can't handle a situation like this
Yeah.
after getting kidnapped and fucking almost left for dead by by Frank. So he's like, okay, you know, maybe now it's time to call the police. Which I mean, honestly, I think he made the right call. That seems to be the point where like he went as far as he could, and he's like, you know what, now it's time for the professionals to handle it. So then he tells his dad, tells Sandy's dad everything that happened, and they're like, oh, okay, cool. And then you hear that there's going to be a raid on like one of Frank's places or whatever.
Right.
So he goes and visits her apartment one last time. Oh, I guess the final straw really was finding Dorothy naked and beaten in front of his own house or whatever, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I guess I was
stumbles out.
How did she find his house?
I think they left. I think they left her there.
They probably dropped her off there or something. That's what I assumed.
Just stumbled there on her own.
It wouldn't have been hard to figure out exactly like where he lived either. It's a fucking small town, obviously. Yeah. So I guess that was like the last straw. And then they're gonna raid one of Frank's compounds, whatever. He's gonna go on this date, but he's like, oh, I gotta do one last thing. And he goes to Dorothy's apartment to find the yellow man and Dorothy's husband, which I'm sure we heard his name at some point. Don. There we go. They're both dead. And the weird one was obviously the yellow man was still standing, but you can see a giant fucking like piece of his skull missing.
I don't think he was fully dead yet. But he was like dead, you know.
Okay. I just thought like rigor mortis
because you can almost see him breathing a little bit.
Yeah, because there's like his radio, walkie-talkie's in his pocket, and it goes off, and you see him like react.
He does react.
Yeah. So maybe it's just a complete fucking brain damage and something, but he's on the way out for sure.
and you see this look like Jeffrey's like still thinking about doing something, but then he realizes like, you know what, he's like, I'm gonna let the police just find you. And then that's when he realizes, or he's about to leave. He sees the well-dressed man that he saw earlier when he was taking like the secret photos or whatever.
It's like Geraldo Rivera or something.
I was thinking Marty Scorsese with the mustache.
They're about the same height, probably. Honestly.
Yeah,
I can see that.
Basically like a Groucho Marx disguise is what Dennis Hopper and a Groucho Marx.
All he was missing was like a giant cigar and like those fucking horn ring glasses or whatever. But yeah, so then he realizes that the well-dressed man actually is Frank, and he just puts on a disguise sometimes for drug dealing purposes, I guess.
Right.
And so he goes back in, gets the police radio. Then he realizes that Frank has a police radio, but he uses it to his advantage. So, I mean, Jeffrey's a pretty smart kid. Hides back in the closet. Later, he grabs a revolver from the yellow man or whatever.
While he's still standing.
Yeah.
Doesn't the yellow man fall over or something after he takes the gun out? Or
No, he's still standing.
No,
he falls at some point.
No, he doesn't fall over until...
He gets shot by Frank.
Yeah.
Okay. Frank just shoots the TV and then he shoots the yellow man.
He shoots the TV for some reason. I think he shot at the bed because he thinks that he left the radio under it, so he probably thought he was still under it. Yeah, but then he shoots the TV for whatever reason, and then he shoots fucking the yellow man for another reason that doesn't really
put him out of his misery, man.
I guess. Yeah, maybe. And then he starts heading towards the fucking closet. Opens it, surprise. It almost kind of reminds me of Burn After Reading,
right?
Kind of.
Yeah, definitely, actually. Yeah. For sure.
But the reverse happens. But yeah, and then fucking Kyle just fucking blasts his fucking skull up, basically.
Yeah.
That exit wound was huge. I remember when you actually see his body on the ground. I was
just
like, bro, you see brain like legit hanging out. Yeah.
It's pretty graphic. Yeah. Some sort of like model they blow up or something with blood everywhere.
That shit was pretty badass, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I like that scene. I thought it was cool. And then right after that, boom, fucking Sandy and her dad shows up, and I feel like Sandy's dad gives him this look like, good job, kid.
It was funny because Sandy went into the room first.
Right.
I don't know why. The dad's the detective. The dad should have.
I like that.
Right after the gunshot went off.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's true, right? Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I like to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he told his daughter, no, hold up, and she just kind of went on. Hopefully he didn't just let his daughter go on ahead after a fucking gunshot just went off.
Yeah, that was pretty much the end of the movie right there, right?
The very ending is obviously like their mom they're at their house again
Yeah,
or whatever.
recovering.
You see Jeffrey's dad has recovered at this point. He's getting along with the neighbors, and him and her are still hanging out, or they're still dating. There's a whole thing with the robin and the bug in its mouth, which I'm sure is supposed to represent something, but I don't fucking know. I'm not that artsy. And then we get I like the I don't remember if it was a very final shot, but we see that Dorothy was reunited with her son, and they're just happy having a good time in the park or whatever. So that's a pretty happy ending, honestly. I mean, obviously not great for Dorothy's husband, but overall pretty happy ending.
Yeah. It's definitely an emotional ride for me, at least.
Emotional roller coaster.
Yeah,
Takes you highs and lows.
Yeah, David Lynch has a great touch for violence, honestly. His movies, like, the more I watch him, he's just...
You like how he does violence?
How he does violence. It's just really fucked up and horrible. I like that. I don't know.
I feel like he definitely knows what perverts think. Like, I mean, I don't know if he created the character, Frank, but whoever wrote that fucking character definitely has some fucked up insight for sure.
I'm pretty sure David Lynch is a little bit of a pervert.
Yeah.
that whole wholesome demeanor is really just a cover up.
Yeah. It's just his voice that makes you think he's wholesome, but he's really an evil mastermind. No. But yeah, honestly, I love this movie. Probably definitely one of my... I mean, from what I've seen of David Lynch, it's probably my favorite one so far. But I still gotta see Mulholland Drive and Inland, and actually watch Twin Peaks. But from what I've seen, I've really enjoyed this. Probably my favorite so far.
Yeah,
I don't think I'd recommend Inland Empire to anyone, unless you're a hardcore David Lynch fan already and you know that. But like, I wouldn't really recommend it to just like, if you're just wanting to watch a fun movie. No, that's not it.
Okay, for sure.
Oh, a little fun fact also, the Isabella Rossellini, who plays Dorothy, was actually married to David Lynch, or at least like partners with him at this time.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
weird. How long were they married for? Because I think she was in
86 to 91. They weren't married, but
she
they were
was
together.
married to Scorsese.
She was married to Scorsese
first?
and she and then dated David Lynch and then Gary Oldman.
Oh my god, yeah, she was dating some powerhouses, dude.
Right.
What the fuck?
She's in Wild at Heart. She has a pretty big role in Wild at Heart.
I swear I remember her from 30 Rock. I think she played Jack's wife.
Yeah, she's
or like
quite a
ex-wife
bit
or
of
whatever.
stuff, honestly.
Go to the go to like the early 2000s. I swear.
Rock,
Yep, Bianca Donaghy. Yep, that was her. I knew it. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, she's very pretty in this movie, but she's kind of unique looking, and I don't want to say she's
not my forte, to be honest. I'm more of a Laura Dern fan, but I get it. And she can sing, which is always a huge plus. I liked her voice. I liked her singing voice a lot, honestly. But
a lot of music in this movie too. It's like full sequences dedicated to an entire song.
I feel like David Lynch really wanted to write a musical, but there was something holding him back. But so he just gives us musical numbers every once in a while.
Pretty much all his movies, like have a musical element to them, from what I've seen.
Every single episode of the third season of Twin Peaks ends with like a musical number.
Right, at the
almost at the very end. Yeah, I forgot what the Bang Bang Club,
something like that.
Something like that.
The red. I don't know
because I remember seeing the neon sign in the front, and it says it's flashing bang 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 bang. I don't know.
He should just direct a music video at this point, but
dude, that'd be some crazy stuff there.
Done a PlayStation commercial.
Which one was it? The baby one?
It's I don't know. I don't think it's the baby one, but it might as well
because that's
be.
one of the weirdest ones they've ever done.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so that seems pretty on brand for David Lynch. If it turns out that was the one he made.
Yeah, he's done a few commercials, which are very weird.
But all right,
how long were you in this one?
probably over an hour at this point.
Yeah, we're just about 58 minutes and 58 and a half.
So, final thoughts, I would say I'd recommend this movie to anyone who likes kind of a good just mystery, especially when it's one of those ones where like someone just kind of stumbles upon it and things get out of hand. Just kind of a weird but kind of cool overall mystery. But if you don't know David Lynch, just I don't know, just prepared for some moments where you're like, what the fuck was that? And then you realize like, oh, that's David Lynch. Like that's how he makes movies.
Especially the dialogue.
Yeah,
right? The clunkiness of it.
Some of the delivery of the lines, you're just like classic David, you know. Yeah, I'd recommend anyone who just likes a good mystery, good or not who done it, but just kind of like, yo, what the fuck is going on in this small town? This perfect, what you would think is this kind of a little piece of heaven, suburbia heaven. But yeah, I liked it. I'd probably give it like an 8, just out of enjoyability. I'd probably give it like an 8. Yeah, if we're going into like deeper things, I don't know, but just from how much I enjoyed it for the first time I've seen it, I'd probably give it about an 8.
Yeah, I'd give it about an 8 as well. It's probably my favorite Lynch movie I've seen. Mm-hmm. I still love Twin Peaks, the series, so much more.
See, I gotta
the movie's a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Twin Peaks, so it's just so weird to me already. But I'm a little compelled to watch it, so I might actually end up watching it all the way through.
Suggest it.
We'll make it like a bonus of the podcast. We talk about Twin Peaks.
If you made a Twin Peaks watch podcast, what would you call it?
Like specifically Twin Peaks podcast?
Yeah, like it's just about whatever, watching and discussing Twin Peaks. What's the diner called?
The double R?
Yeah, the double R.
Oh, never mind. Okay. Never mind. Well, I can't name it because I haven't seen enough of it, but...
What's the hotel? The Great North Lodge? Something like that. Great North Hotel.
Isn't that The Shining? I don't know.
No, that's the Overlook Hotel.
That's Overlook, right?
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah,
I think it's the Great North.
Mm-hmm.
But okay.
One-eyed Jacks.
But yeah.
I don't know.
One-eyed hacks.
One-eyed hat.
Bentley, where does this rank for you with the Lynch works?
I don't know. This it's hard to say. Like this one's very amazing. It's a very deep, like human character dive,
character driven
thing. Like it says a lot of things about like sexuality in humans and men and women that like you can't really say explicitly. Like you can't just be like, you can't just say it up front. So like this movie kind of like shows what you could say without the words.
Okay.
I suppose. I don't want to give too much away with that, but
all right. Could you rate it?
I
mean, you've seen it a few times. So
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10. All right. Yeah, that's pretty good.
The thing with rating movies is that like you could have a really amazing movie, but then not have any like scenes you liked in it. Like it's just okay. Like that movie like worked, I guess. It did what it needed to do. But then you can have a really bad movie, but then love like a lot of the scenes in it.
That's true. Yeah.
So like I don't know. It's hard to like give like one number for the whole thing.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, we just saw Lost Highway like a couple of weeks ago, and I definitely like this more than I like Lost Highway, but I mean, I get it. At one point, you just kind of figure out how David Lynch operates, and, you know, I feel like it's kind of hard to shock you at this point with his work, but he still finds a way every once in a while.
Yeah, Lost Highway is where he starts getting like, it's not straightforward. The plot's just so fucking mixed up.
I think Eraserhead is still like one of the weirdest fucking things I've ever seen.
That's probably the most experimental movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, Blue Velvet, very good American movie. It's a film, actually. I would say it's a film.
Yeah, film.
I would say so too.
No, I'd say it's a film for sure. All right. Any other closing thoughts, guys? Watch Twin Peaks.
Yeah, watch Peaks. watch any David Lynch. Watch.
I want to watch more Kyle MacLachlan stuff.
Sex in the City.
Yeah, that's what I. Yeah, because I pretty much only seen stuff that he's done with David Lynch.
Yeah, that and
then Portlandia.
Showgirls. There we go. That's what I was trying to remember.
Go.
Yeah. And then any How I Met Your Mother fans, you know him as the Captain.
The Captain. Yeah,
he's a very eccentric, just billionaire or whatever. Yeah, love him.
Am I the only one who thought that Kyle MacLachlan kind of looked like Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man 3? Like the emo Tobey Maguire. Like
there was a scene where I was looking at Kyle MacLachlan's hair, and I was like, dude, it's like blacker than black. Like it is. This is a whole other level of fucking black.
So he's wearing a black suit too. A lot of the times.
Maybe that's where maybe that inspired Spider-Man 3.
I mean, Harold Raimi, or Sam Raimi,
Sam
definitely
Raimi.
like probably seen this movie 10, 20 times. So
They're all
he's
David
probably
Lynch fans.
he's probably a big David Lynch fan. I wouldn't be
I would
surprised.
imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, great violence, not so great sex, great
No.
story.
Yeah. But
Really
all
dark.
If no
Horrible.
other closing thoughts, I guess just only thing left to say is, hey guys, this has been 3 Hacks in a Movie. I've been Emilio.
But like.
RJ.
All right. Have a good night, y'all.